Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever or whenever you may be. This is the overnight. I am DM Foss. And so far, joining me tonight is Baron. How's it going, Baron?
Pretty good.
That's good to hear. And I'm still a little bit sick, so please excuse any sniffling, coughing, sneezy, stuffy head, fever, so I can rest medicine. Um, but let's see who was out there so far. Two live moo. Mooing it up out there. Gunpowder Beauty, Tim S, G Webs is out there, PNW Woods, and so far that's everybody that's commented. Let me get the right one going. There we go. So if you have suggestions, comments, or want to submit pictures, scrolling at the bottom of the screen is email or a link that'll get you someplace to send pictures or comments. And gun toting pacifist is out there. Good evening. So, all right. Did I forget anything else? Oh, hey, in down in the description, there's a link for the not Discord. We're not on
Killed it.
Discord anymore. We killed the Discord. Is the Gilded server? A link for the Gilded server. It's a place to hang out, share memes, pictures, chit chat with each other.
Make fun of Discord people.
It's a gun fellowship of sorts. So there's a link down there, and then there's a couple links. One for video having to do with safes, what to look for, and it's kind of comparing a lower end safe and a higher end safe. And then a link for a website which probably does the same. I forget exactly what I linked it to. Because that's tonight's topic are gun safes. Um, the um, what a lot of people think gun safes, what are gun safes, are closer to what they call residential security cabinets. They're not. They're not really safes. Um, it's the video that I linked to. I forget the title of the video. Um, what to look for in a safe. It goes through a pretty good description of how the lower end safes. There's a lot of stuff that they're added to look impressive,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not. Really not. Because let me share some pictures here. And a lot of people get upset over this. This is a topic where, oh no, I've had discussions with friends about their gun safes. Oh no, I got a really good one. It's like, well, no,
You might
you
have
got
spent a bunch of money, but
you got a pretty okay one. But let's see. So here's a picture of one. That's about as close as I can get in. But if you look at this bolt, it's crooked because it's bent. Is the door was pried open, and I think looks like this is a Winchester,
yeah, it looks like it.
made in the USA, but it's
You see that? Residential security container.
yeah. And then let me close that one and show another one, which that go to
Gary is not
that.
blocked, by the way. We can't see him. We're just ignoring him.
So here's one that uh, go make bigger. Let me go
Control and scroll wheel.
There we go. So if you look at that big hole in the side, that was done with an axe.
No shit.
Yeah. So someone busted in with an axe.
Jack Nicholson lost his key.
Yeah, so probably most of this affordable safes, what people would consider affordable safes, are not safes. Here is
They're
picture.
obstacles, basically.
Well, yeah. Here is. There we go. That's what I want. This is kind of the makeup of most of the safes you'll find, like at Cabela's or Costco. But if you look, this one has a 12 gauge steel outer shell, and then there's 1, 2, 3, those 4 layers. That's drywall. That's the fireproofing. They use this drywall. One of the problems with drywall is it attracts water. So you need to have a dehumidifier in these. I've got a small safe, for papers and stuff.
Yeah.
And I did not realize that was a problem until I had a baseball, an autographed baseball. I think it was my Ken Griffey baseball was in my safe, and it got moldy because I didn't realize that the fireproofing, the drywall, the gypsum fireproofing collects water. So I keep a damper in one of those little containers, damper it things in the safe now. And the safe we have now isn't as bad as those cheaper ones. But yeah, that's something to really think about. And then the fireproofing doesn't really. It's more if you're near the fire, it'll help. But if it's in the fire, you're screwed. Everything's still going to get destroyed. But here's kind of a look at the door where so you've got your 1/4 inch steel plate, and that's on the front, and then 3 layers of gypsum. Then, that's just this design. But then behind that, there's a big void, and that's where the bolts go through. So when you look at the door, it looks like it's, like 2-3 inches thick, but it's, it's a 1/4 inch. And then a lot of them will be even thinner, and it's bent. So you can kind of see it over. If you look at where it says 4 layer of gypsum board, if you look at the top of there, you see this outer skin bends in and then around. When you look at it from the edge, it looks like one big chunk of steel, but it's not. It's a thin piece that's bent around, so it's not as thick. So if somebody pries on that, this can move because it's not very thick.
Yep. Can you imagine how much that would weigh if that was solid steel?
Yeah,
it'd be insane.
When I was kind of researching, doing show prep stuff earlier, one of the safes they were comparing these other ones to was kind of more almost like I'm not sure if it was commercial grade, but it was close to that, where it was like 600 pounds. So when I should have made notes and been organized. Otherwise, we're going to be all over the place here. I'm not good at making notes and being organized. So that's, just kind of a lookup of the makeup of most of this, what are called gun safes that you find. And, for me, I don't have high-end gun safes just because what you see here, this is probably a higher end one that you'll find. Because, just looking at the design. I don't remember if this is actually, they say the brand, or if this was a generic mock-up that they're showing. But so you're going to be paying quite a bit for this, but I can saw through it with a Sawzall or a diamond bit on a radial saw. When I worked at the shipyard, our job was when they would decommission submarines, they'd cut them up and then give us sections to clean off all the hazardous materials, the PCBs and asbestos and stuff. But I could cut through, an inch thick or more submarine hull with a Sawzall, and it does not take but a minute or two to cut through, a chunk of it, and that's, a lot thicker than any of the safes that I have. So I'm not worried about. I would love to have one of the big, big fancy safes, because it's a nice big space to store stuff, but
yeah,
they're not secure. And that's where, I've gotten into, I wouldn't say arguments, just disagreements where, people spend a lot of money on, and it's heavy, but it's,
they're defending their purchase, basically.
Yeah. But like I said, I've got all the tools to break into my stuff. If somebody broke into my house, they could break into my safes. That's where kind of layered security comes in, where I hopefully have enough to slow them down to where, my alarm's going off and the security company calls the cops. I think the average break-in is 3.5 minutes, somewhere right around there. So they're not, unless they're specifically targeting you they know you have a safe. Then
here's a good question. Do you keep your tools locked up? Or are you giving them full access to the tools they would need to open your safe?
There's full access. I think about locking them up, but then I'm lazy, because then I'd have to unlock them to use them.
I keep my tool chest, because it's on wheels. I keep it locked up just so when you move it, the drawers don't open and the whole thing won't tip over. But that's just out of habit.
Yeah, for a very short while, when I first got my first kind of larger toolbox, I did lock it and then got lazy and never locked it again.
I didn't until the one time I moved it and the drawers all opened and the entire thing fell over. That was a big mess.
Yeah.
Because once those things start moving, you're not stopping them, especially if you're on the wrong side of it.
Yeah. But yeah, God, I really should have laid out a lesson plan.
My Sawzall is actually leaning against my safe at the moment. It's just asking for someone to come along. And I have a diamond bit in the case. Or a diamond saw blade.
But if you get a chance, check out the links that I had posted. Check them out later. So if you're looking for a safe, it'll give you stuff to look for. And stuff to understand, because even like the cheaper ones, you'll have a larger door gap. Well, that makes it easier to get a pry bar in there. The higher end ones will have a thin gap where you can't get a crowbar in there without really working. But if because even the higher end ones, I've seen videos where either they'll take a Skillsaw with a diamond blade and basically just zip around the top of it, take the top off, or they'll knock them over and then go to work with large pry bars. So that, that's the other thing is bolt it down. Is
exactly.
If I've read stories where people have their safes on their second floor, and the guy had house was broken into, and they pushed his safe down the stairs. Got it to the edge and then tipped it over and knocked it down the stairs. So you've got all that damage. Plus, now your safe is downstairs. Anything that's in it is damaged.
Your stairs are probably pretty messed up.
And that's what, because what I was reading earlier today also talked about that insurance. Insurance would cover the guns, but may not cover all the damage from the safe going down your stairs, which I don't know for sure. But
another thing people don't really think about, you don't need to get like an entire door open. You just need to be able to get a hand in and start pulling out barrels, and they can grab the whole gun. It's like the hole doesn't need to be that big.
Yeah.
Like if they cut into the side of it.
There's also, when you look at the specifications, there's a lot that are just kind of bullshit. There'll be, some of them will have UL ratings, which are okay. But then I can't remember, there's another rating, which is like the UL rating, which is, doesn't mean anything. And it's used just to make it sound like it's a UL rating. Where I think it's UL rating, where one of the ratings, they'll have it, expose it to a certain amount of heat, and then drop it from about whatever a second story fall would be. And then if it can survive that, then it gets whatever that rating is. But there's, I wish I could remember what the rating was, the misleading rating. But that's kind of like also with hearing protection. There's two different ratings that you'll see. One is kind of the government official one, and then one is the other industry will use to make it sound like they're great.
I always double up on hearing protection. I do the little squishy ones, and then the muffs over the top.
I carry extra ones. I never double up. After the first couple shots, if it's too loud, then you won't hear anything anyways. How's it going, G-Webs?
Fred Midland, thanks for the link.
Oh, no problem. But so for the safes, rather than go with one big expensive one, I've got a few kind of spread out somewhat strategically. And then, like I said, kind of the layered, where I've got the cameras, I've got an alarm system. Each of those hopefully buys time, because the would-be burglars don't want to spend extra time. If they're targeting you specifically, that can be different, because that's another thing that when you get into safes and you look at people debating safes, some people feel that all the safe does is it basically puts a big arrow on where your valuables are. So wherever your safe is, that's where all your valuable things are. So that's what's going to get targeted.
My most expensive gun is not in a place you would expect it to be. We'll put it that way.
Let's go. Let me go up. I missed Honcho Fett when he came in. Hello, Honcho Fett and Pink Panther. It's out there.
So that's a strategy. You just buy a bunch of stack-on cabinets and fill up an entire room with stack-on cabinets, and only one of them has guns in it. They'll have to cut through 12 of them before they get to the right one.
The rest have those boxing gloves on the spring.
They're just full of bricks.
It's I just want to scroll up through the comments. Yeah, Woods is saying he has a damp red in his job box safe.
The link that you were talking about putting out there is, I have to look at that. Right, you said that's in the description of the video?
Yeah, in the
Here we
description.
go. Okay.
Um,
Oh, interesting.
so yeah, Woods was saying alarm with cameras is more important than the safe. If you have the right tools, you can open anything. Yeah, for
I agree.
probably half of why I have a safe is because I have kids.
Exactly.
And we'll get into a little bit later. Other options other than safes, but
Oh, this is a guy from Summit Safe. That's interesting.
Pink is saying use tie down, bolt down holes as ventilation. No need for golden rods.
Well, you want to bolt down your safe for dang sure. So,
what about, and Honcho's asking, what about practical gun safes for an apartment? Yeah, we'll kind of get into that we'll talk about some other options.
there's another video that's longer than this. This is 8 minutes of this guy rushing through it, but he's talking about basically why metal is better than what you're talking about. I forget what they call these layers. That's basically stop sign material. Also, the safe that's made out of is really not really super metal. There's another one that this one guy from Florida did with some guy who ran like a warehouse type of place with a whole bunch of different safes, and he had them all from, I forget the name, is like Gunfriend Storefirst. There's like a name for this one safe that the jewelry stores and like people who really need a safe buy, and that's like, you're talking, they weigh thousands of pounds, and they, you need to make arrangements to have it delivered, kind of thing. Once you lose a combination to that, like you have to really make arrangements to have it busted into, because you don't just bust into them. They're nothing but steel, and they cost astronomically different, because that's when you're putting millions of dollars into one tiny place in your house instead of all everything valuable in your house like you're talking about. But yeah, there's a big difference between the stuff that'll defeat a tool and then the stuff that will, well, there's so many videos about taking moments. You got to bolt your safe down. If you don't bolt it down, it takes moments to get it open, no matter what the type. But anyway, the guy in the video, in that one that went around for a while, does such a great job, because he sells all brands, so he doesn't hold any punches, and he tells you, like, here's the differences between them, and there's nothing wrong with these. These do, like you guys were just talking about, for kids and for keeping people honest. They're great. They do exactly what they're supposed to do, and they look cool, and they're economical, but they're made to be like the same size as same concept as a refrigerator. They're made to be attractive in the store next to the other ones, to have features that are neat in a store, not so much like they thought it out as a gun safe. The big thing also, when you were talking about them, I don't know, just is the cost, and then when you decide to get one, because it's sort of like, you buy a gun, you buy maybe a second gun, a third gun, and at some point you got to make a decision: do I buy another gun, or am I buying something to put all these guns in, right? Like, and that's always a discussion when we're talking about safes. Like, when to make that decision.
Yeah, that's when I first, when we got our first safe, it wasn't a gun safe, but just a safe to keep papers and important stuff. And I just went to
like a firebox.
Yeah, I went to Walmart and got one of the little safes, and it's like, I think it was just under 1 cubic foot. And, it was kind of heavy. I didn't know anything about safes, and I thought it was all right. And then if you really get into researching them, you come to, you really understand how crappy those are. I guess I can stop sharing.
Well, but they do what they're supposed to do. They offer that thermal barrier in some time. So if you got papers or something in there or something important, then, it doesn't just melt or burn up, hopefully.
Yeah, well, that's the problem is, with the the fire safes, if they're in the middle of the fire, your stuff is still going to burn because that metal is going to heat up and it's just going to radiate like an oven. And even if it doesn't burn your stuff, it's going to char. And there's the small safe we have now has it's, I forget what it is. It's got a different lining, instead of having the drywall, it's got some actual better stuff. I went to a security store and bought a safe because I wanted a good one. And then it's got the seal that puffs up when there's heat. But the other thing to remember is if you've got, if it's in a fire and the fire department comes, it's going to be full of water when the fire department puts your fire out. So if anything survived the heat, it's now wet.
And that's where those puffy things are good too, because they'll puff with smoke and they'll puff with water, and then create like hopefully a watertight barrier down there. But yeah,
and so,
double-edged sword. You're screwing that thing to the ground, so there are those holes. It floods in there, water's in there. It's just the way it is. Unless you really take some time and caulk up those holes. I've never seen anybody do that.
And if you're, sorry, I got to email some pictures that I forgot to transfer earlier that I was going to show.
So I used to hang out at a shop here in Tucson, and they were there was only 2 distributors for Fort Knox in Arizona. So they were one, and then there was another one in the Phoenix area. So they would deliver Fort Knox safes to New Mexico and all around southern Arizona. And when Fort Knox is it's the only one that I know of that makes their safes out of U.S. metal. So everything about a Fort Knox is metal. U.S. stays here, everything's always been here, kind of thing. And they'll bring people up because not enough people value that part of it. They still have why does this one cost more than that one? So they'll bring people up in these. I don't want to say every shop that sells stuff, but I think every shop that sells their stuff has an opportunity for sure to show up in Salt Lake City. And I mean, it's just outside of Salt Lake City, but Salt Lake City. And then they kind of walk up through the factory and show them everything. And so these guys, I mean, they really liked Fort Knox, but Fort Knox made a big effort to make sure that everybody knew like what you're talking about. Some of them use BTU, some of them use, what is it? The other way to measure heat, and then they'll play with those things and play with how much time it's in the flame. Although the flame is this high, but we can last 45 minutes where everybody else can only last 30. So they play these games with math basically, but they're all basically just going with that stop signs and plaster of Paris.
Yeah.
Version.
I really should have. Yeah.
Since then, there's some bolt together ones that are pretty neat for people that are like military or some kind of job where you travel
like the stack on stuff.
I don't think it's, well, I mean, maybe, but they're another company for sure, but it's thicker gauge than stack on. So it's more like getting back to a thick metal safe, but it's bolted on the inside and it's in such a way that it would take a lot of effort to get into it. But it is a stack on, what do you call that? Like a cabinet compared to a vault or a safe. So
it's the type with the mesh front, right?
No, I think it's stronger than that. It's stronger than like a snap-on. It's thicker steel, but it's effectively a snap-on, just a big cabinet with a door. It's just that it comes apart and you can fold it all up. So if you do go put it into an apartment, you don't have to carry like a big refrigerator up there. You're just carrying a bunch of pieces of flat metal up and then bolting it all together on the inside of it. So it still, is a safe when you put it all together. I've seen them only a couple of times. Like I said, the shop I hung out at, they carried Fort Knox, so they didn't carry them, but I seen them at SHOT Show and they seemed like a pretty good alternative. They kind of did it with the people in the military who travel quite a bit. They did it with them in mind. Because a stack-on, I like them. I mean, stack-ons are great, but yeah, for maybe your tools or for, just to organize, they're just metal cabinets. They're not really secure. But like you say, if you even had 3 of those closed, how does anybody know what's in them? They spend half an hour getting in it or 20 minutes getting in it, unless there's some kind of massive expert. And then they find out you keep your backpack in there or something.
Yep. I kind of think of them as like a piggy bank. Like, keeps honest people out. The way they're getting in, they'd have to break it.
I mean, the one thing when you think about it too is, what are you, somebody gonna break into your house while you're out getting something at the store? Like, no, probably not. They're probably gonna wait till you're on vacation or doing something, and then they got 5 days. So sometimes they take your safe. Like a lot of people, we deliver a lot of safes, and I would say 70% of safes are in people's garages, at least in Arizona. So I mean, if somebody really wanted to, they just go into your garage, put it in the, somehow get it out and put it in a truck, and then leave and didn't do all the other work somewhere else. So there's,
Yep.
in reality,
All they need is a hand cart if it's not bolted down.
Oh, you don't need anything. You just need some golf balls or some PVC. We sold one of the 3rd largest safe that Fort Knox had made at the time for a guy who, like, talk about, none of me knows what I'm talking about, but he was doing it for like coins or something. He had very, very shallow shelves and a whole bunch of them, the most shelves I've ever seen in one. But the thing was big enough. It was like an outdoor storage shelf, or outdoor shed. And I was like, holy crap, how are we going to move this? And it was, at the time, we had this really big trailer with like an I-beam. So you could, like an I-beam going across the top, and you could put almost anything in it because all you had to do is back up to it. And this I-beam crank thing would pick it up and bring it into the trailer. So getting in and out of the trailer was no problem. We dropped it into gravel, and it was the 3rd largest safe they ever did. And me and 2 other people, just using PVC pipe, were able to get that thing in. I mean, it's annoying to get it around corners or up over a porch or something lip, but it's crazy what you can move when you do it all the time. And criminals probably do it all the time. You can't do stairs. I mean, if you want to really make it tough, put them upstairs or downstairs, I guess. Anybody can drop a safe downstairs, but trying to bring a safe upstairs, no one is going to do that. No criminal's going to drag a safe upstairs. I can guarantee that. That's one of the most.
So throw it in your basement, right?
Yeah, get a safe, drop it in your basement, and that's the best thing. And then sell it at the house and buy a new one.
That's the insurance companies. That's where they would like you to, because you've got your cement floor,
Yep.
so it's not surrounded by fire.
That's a good point too. A lot of people put it in their garage, and then they either have the tools out there or they have it next to a bunch of cellar ends and things. I've seen people put them in libraries, and I'm like, well, I mean, do you want that thing to burn, or do you want it to be a knife? Put it in a closet or something. All your clothes catch on fire, like you're saying. It's one thing, but it might be on fire for 45 minutes. But you put it in a garage with all your solvents and your motorcycle or something, like, probably gonna not have, like you're saying, it's going to just be what was left of the, like when a matchstick burns, like you're going to get the little echo of what your Glock looked like.
It'll just be a rusty barrel by the time it's done.
I mean, in a fire, I guess everything gets replaced, so you lose things, but it gets replaced. But there's nothing perfect. Nothing's going to save everything.
So was it Hancho? Yeah, Hancho was asking basically about if you live in rentals. So the other kind of concept is out of sight, out of mind, where instead of having a safe, you've got hidden, and there's like the shelves that open up, or different furnitures. And when I bought my first couple guns, I didn't have a safe. So what I did was, let me make sure I got the right picture. Yeah. So in my dresser, this is one of the top drawers. In the back, I put a cleat on the side, a cleat on the top, and then some eye bolts. And that's just large enough space in the back of the dresser to hold one of those little single gun safes. The little clamp
pistol
shells.
gun safe.
And then I put a magnet on that top cleat, so when it sits on that lower rail, and then the magnet holds it in place. And then the 2 eye bolts was so I could throw a little
the cable
bungee cord on it if I wanted to.
Oh,
just to hold it in place. But so if somebody tossed the drawers, you won't see it because it's far enough back. And then close that one. And share that one. So on the bottom, I put in a cleats, and then that wood bottom I added so that I could store stuff underneath it. So if somebody pulled the drawers out and dumped them, all you see is a solid bottom on the dresser, because under, you can pull up that panel, and I stored guns. I actually forgot that I had that case under there. It's been under there for a couple of years. Well, I added some cleats and then just threw piece of press board that I had laying around, cut it to fit that area. So if you look in there, all you see is a solid bottom, and someone's not going to know that there's anything below that.
Imagine you're buying a dresser at Foss's estate sale, and you get a free HK.
Well, that has to happen all the time, right? People buy desks and like, oh look, there's a drawer. Oh look, there's a necklace in here or something.
Yeah, I got one with some collectible foreign money in it. That's the only thing I've ever found.
And I've seen pictures online where people will make safes out of, like a soda machine or something like that, which they're really cool, but that soda machine alone is something that looks like it's of value. So if they're looking to steal the soda machine, now they're stealing your soda machine and everything.
That's an effort. Soda machines are super heavy. I mean, they're very, very heavy. And the conversions are either like super heavy or take a lot of effort to cut all that stuff out, because there's a lot of insulation and stuff that, anyway, but yeah.
Make a safe out of a couch your dog uses as a bed. It's all nasty.
But
something like that.
These are kind of simple ideas where, somebody that's coming in and looking to grab jewelry or grab whatever's laying around, they're not going to dig through. There we go. They don't see something that's hidden. So they're going to just, pass by it and keep going. I've got a safe, a floor safe, which you will not find unless you tear up all the floors in the house. But it's, it's set up in a way that's really easy to get to. I saw a video of a guy that he took a closet, and when you open the closet, all there was a pair of shoes. And if you reach in, grab the pair of shoes, they're attached to the floor. When you pull the shoes forward, the whole floor slides forward. And he had about a 1 cubic foot safe set down inside the floor. Really cool.
Yeah. So by the time you put everything else back in there, you don't realize that pair of shoes is the doorknob, really.
Yeah.
With a lever or whatever.
Did he use shitty shoes? Or somebody be like, ooh, Nikes. Try to steal those.
The first thing to travel, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't recall what kind of shoes.
Just the nastiest shoes you can find.
Woods is saying his dad stores a few of his handguns in an old coat. And Wheeled In Well Arms is out there. Good to see you. Haven't seen him in a while.
Fake heat register. That's a good one. Or like a cold air return.
I think that's one of the better ones, especially if you're not renting. If you can do it, then just go to the store. Well, first look around your house, figure out where's a good place behind a door or someplace where nobody's going to be paying attention to it. And then I'd say go to if you got a used building materials place, because then you'll get one that looks like it's been around for a minute. And then
Yeah, it won't be the only shiny thing in your house.
Yeah, it doesn't look brand new, out of place on your wall or something. And then plus it only costs like a couple of dollars. It'll cost nothing. And yeah, just get one that matches the rest of your other vents and stuff. And no one knows what like you're saying, like where a filter would be or something. You could have like a 1 foot panel on your thing. And unless somebody knows something about, where stuff normally would be, or like, wait, this doesn't make sense for this to be on this wall. Very few criminals are thinking like that. You can make stuff that I've seen some for changing filters where it's fairly convenient to open it, and it's so discreet. Is that the right way to say it? Like people wouldn't even pay attention that there's like a giant door in your wall.
One of the really cool ones I saw, which I don't know if they actually went into production or not, but it was basically a small picture, and it used, it was secured to the wall, and that was the opening to get a long gun up in the cavity of the wall. And it was a small opening, so you don't really think it will fit, but you just fish it through the hole. So you've got a 16-inch shotgun that fits through something about that big.
There's you got a lot of room, and a lot of places have, especially internal walls, have studs and then gaps, right? Unless there's something cancellation in there, you just got all this dead space everywhere. So there's like medicine cabinets will fit in there, and I've seen something similar to what you're talking about, where you put it in. I don't think you buy this. This might be something that somebody came up with, but you put it in like just a little sunken nook type of thing that somebody would put in as a decoration. But like you're saying, you kind of move something, unlock something, and it slides over, and then like a medicine cabinet, kind of the gun part slides in, or something moves, and now you can pull a longer gun than you'd expect out of there. Or sometimes just that's where you keep all your money and jewelry and stuff, because it's something that people aren't looking for.
Yeah, then there's like the sliding mirrors, full length mirrors that slide. So either it'll be a cabinet behind it, or that's a door to to another room or something like that. I would love
to. It's like, what about just taking a closet or some like section of a larger room and putting in the wall, and then just giving yourself 3 foot by 6 foot that no one's gonna, unless they have some kind of blueprint in your house, no one's gonna know that there's space missing out of a room. But yeah, you've got some kind of register that you just kneel down and crawl into, and now you're you igloo crawl into your room, and you got a whole gun room in there or something. I've thought about doing that when you first move into a place. Start looking around and figuring out where you can sneak an extra closet out of an internal wall somewhere, and then get some 2x4s and make a wall real quick.
Yeah, there's like the space under, if you got stairs, we've got the space under the stairs that you can utilize. I've seen where somebody will take one of the stairs and then turn that into a slide out drawer.
Yeah, those are some of the neatest, I think, too. And people might think, like, look for some kind of a, what do you call that, like an entrance to some sort of a closet, small room underneath the stairs, but no one's looking. Nobody goes up and yanks on stairs to see if there are. I've seen the doors that open in, like the stairs lift up and it's really a door. And then I've seen the drawers like you're talking. I think the drawers are some of the cleverest.
Yeah, because again, that the average break-in is 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. So they're looking to grab as much as they can, as fast as they can. And they're not gonna scour your house like the CIA.
One thing to think about, most of these break-ins happen from someone So if you do build a secret room, you probably don't want to tell people that you built a secret room.
That's true. Bringing everybody over during the cookout.
Yeah, like, hey, look at this. And then you go on vacation and somebody breaks in. You're like,
And the door's not even broken.
Which person from my barbecue broke into my house?
I'm usually not concerned about the person I tell. I'm more concerned about the person they tell, because I don't know who that is. Because I would tell my son when he was little, not to talk about certain stuff, because I trust you, but I don't know who you tell or who the person you tell tells, you know.
One rule of thumb is don't trust anybody that shoots 9mm.
Here's an example. Do you remember Yankee had his son's friend break into his gun room and steal a gun?
Yeah.
It's usually somebody you know, or somebody you know that someone you know that they know. I didn't say that right. Shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Kevin Bacon effect. That
Yeah.
A couple steps removed can be the problem.
It's usually not just like some random person like Home Alone driving through the neighborhood and be like, "Ooh, look at that house."
I haven't looked up the statistics on that. How many are, who you know, and it could be you had work done, so somebody that came to the house and saw something.
We had next door neighbor meth addict move out, and the very next day, someone tried to break into my place and the place next to us. The next day after he moved out, I'm like,
They're probably looking for meth. They're like, I know there's meth in one of these houses.
And then they came back the night after and tried to break into the house again.
I used to have a old place we lived out. The neighbors across the street, the wife's brother was a gang member, and I was always concerned that somebody would come looking for him and shoot up our house, thinking they were shooting up the wrong house. So
you get like a yarn ornament, yard ornament that says something to the effect of "gang free," unlike my neighbors, and then a big arrow.
You point over there. You ever had that happen?
Have what?
Mistaken identity? Like they come to your house instead of your neighbor?
No.
They came to my house looking for the meth head next door. They're going to arrest me. They're like, we followed you home. I'm like, well, I've been here all night. What are you talking about? I was like, you probably want that guy. Go check with him. And he had been in a high-speed chase. And he went home. Who drives home in a police chase? What the fuck? Meth heads?
Yeah. I've seen videos of that happen where they, they'll fly into their own driveway and then run in the house real fast.
Yeah, if he's listening, yes, I did turn you in.
You're a snitch. So Joe Fett says, what if you don't know anyone? Guns are safe? Yep. Just keep to yourself.
That sounds like healthy. Guns and no people.
Well, back in the day, it would have been like, I don't know what the numbers were, but a lot of the break-ins were just kids screwing around or like trying to,
Steal your beer.
earn points with each other. It's not like they were organized crime. They were just trying to, I don't know, kids are being weird or dumb or whatever, and being dared to do it or something, or like you say, looking for beer. But
break-ins go up in the summer when school's out.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it's something like that, that's where it's handy to have the stuff in a safe. Then there's the people that would, just over the years, one of the devil's advocate or whatever, people go, well, if you go to safe and somebody sees it, then they think, especially if they do know somebody to tell, like, oh, I know a guy's got a gun safe. Or maybe some criminal goes, hey, give me $5, give you $50 every time you tell me about somebody's got a gun safe you find. Like, like the, I don't know. But anyway, so I guess there's that thing that people get concerned about, and then the argument is like you're saying, just hide them, keep them around. I mean, it depends on how many guns you got. You have so many, pretty soon every time you lift a cushion, you got a gun under there.
Yeah, I just would never keep all my guns in one spot.
I would never do that. At least 2 spots.
One thing that people never talk about with safes very often is you take all your guns and you buy them and you put them in that safe. Pretty much every gun that you bought new for sure comes in a box, and then a bunch of the used ones you got come in a box. So now you got some closet somewhere full of boxes that are just sitting there empty, and that's another thing. So, I've got my everything hidden and all that. Well, unless you put all your boxes in there, somebody's going to come across this like giant box of boxes or some closet full of boxes and go, unless they're collecting a shit ton of random empty boxes with guns in them, or that were from guns. There's guns in this house.
Gunmetal Guy USA's out there. Honcho Fett saying crime overall goes up during the summer. The hotter the summer, the higher the crime increases statistically. PNW Woods is saying early 90s, my buddy's house, he collected swords, 40, maybe 50 swords covering the walls. Cops came for the neighbor, wrong house. The cops drew immediately and ordered us out.
That's overreacting. That's weird. Like, seriously, you think I'm going to grab a sword? Come on.
Pink is flexing on us, says that's why I have 5 safes and 3 houses.
There you go. This man knows what's up.
I have 3 safes among 5 houses.
And what about cars? Do you have
That's
a
too
lockbox or
expensive
safe for your car?
giant. Oh, I'm going to put your car into a giant safe.
I do. Have one of the little clamshell types that I keep under the seat, and it's got the cable that goes around the seat support. I don't know. I'm still kind of curious because of the way it attaches to the cable. The cable has a metal nub that the clamshell closes on.
Mm-hmm.
If I yank on it hard enough, is that just going to deform and pull out?
That would make a good YouTube video.
Yeah, of course. It's only designed
What-
to stop people from being just taking it. But yeah.
I thought about doing that, but I don't want to ruin the support on the car seat.
Take a screw hole saw or whatever, drill, and just drill a hole through the top and bottom of it. Rarely do you need the entire inside surface area, and then just take your cable, a thicker cable, and go through that hole. And then you'd have to completely destroy the box to be able to get it off of the cable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But I mean, here's the thing. You were saying, do you have one? I have probably the one I bought first at some points. I thought they were a good idea. And then I have at least 2 that I bought for getting them in Vegas. So buying them when I got to Vegas because I had forgot them. And then I know I bought one in Illinois, going to Gun Rights Policy. And then I think I might have bought a 4th one somewhere. So I have at least 4 that I have bought because I forgot them. And then, it costs like $25. So instead of worrying about it, I just buy another one. So I have a pile of them.
Yeah, mine stays in the car all the time. Some people will mount them like in their trunk. I keep it under the seat. It's not as secure as it would be if it was mounted, but also in order to put it in the trunk, you have to get out and then take it out while you're in public view. Under my seat, I can reach under the seat, pull it out, sit it on my lap, and you can't see that I'm putting a gun in it. I've only used it a couple times, but I keep it in there just in case I need to use it. I think last time I used it, I had to go into the school with my son, so I had to take it off.
They're handy for if you got to do something where you want to leave your wallet in the car or something like that too. Anything that fits in there, they're good for locking up.
Yeah.
So that's probably a good idea, just leaving it locked in the car all the time.
Yeah, mine's mounted to the floorboard behind my seat. It's a single cab, so
people put them in the console, whatever you call the thing between the seats. I've seen people just bolt them into there.
I thought about, because you can get those is it Lockett? There's like 2 main brands. I think one's Lockett, and I don't remember the exact name. I forget the other one. Where they're a console safe, and I thought about getting one for my car, but I didn't want to lose my center console because I would have to open the safe to get into, like my sunglasses that I keep in there. I don't want to have to go through all that. And then I've seen also pictures online of people who have had theirs broken into, So they're not all that great, but it's better than sitting out in the open. And then if somebody really wanted it, they'll just take, they could just yank the whole center console off if it's depending on how it's built.
There was a company downstairs at SHOT Show for maybe 2 years, and I think they're not there anymore, but they did road flares, and they did this Kleenex box, and they did like a thing that said like tools or something on it. And they were all effectively those little boxes in different shapes, but like those boxes, I guess you call it lockbox, but then camouflage. So you could kind of, I don't know if you leave them in plain sight necessarily, but if you had it in the trunk, it would look like it would say road flares and be a red nylon thing. So, unless somebody's really interested in stealing $25 worth of road flares, the idea was they'd leave it there. The other one was like a Kleenex box. So you'd put literally a Kleenex box into this thing, and then your safe like that was underneath the Kleenex box. And then I guess the idea was you'd leave that in your RV or your car or someplace, depending on which kind of vehicle you got, even in a console on the right kind of vehicle. I thought that was kind of neat. But it's all made in China, so I don't remember I don't think I took a video of it, but I did go around and look at their stuff because I thought it was kind of cool. But they were like only half-assed. I think they might have actually made car parts and decided, hey, you know what? If we put a little box in here, maybe gun people will buy it. I don't think they came to this table with the idea of helping gun people.
When my wife's car got broken into a few years back, they took anything that wasn't strapped down, basically.
That wouldn't have worked. Then they would have had it.
First aid kit, the portable charger battery, for jump starter. They were empty bags, but they probably didn't know they were empty. They just grabbed everything out of her car.
Well, that little battery charger thing, they hook that up to their exercise bikes, and then they've got a power source.
Is it possible they used the bags to carry the stuff they took out of the car?
Nice.
It's possible. That was one thing I told my wife, don't leave bags in view, even if they're empty. And she poo-pooed it.
There's a note like, can you leave nicer bags in here? These were a couple of times as we were taking your stuff.
So yeah, it's people will steal. They'll steal because they need it. They'll steal because they want it. And some people just steal because it's there. So don't assume somebody won't take something.
We're also worried about, let's say you're just minding your business or whatever, but somebody's trying to entrap you. So they steal your gun, go commit some kind of crazy crimes with it, and then put it right back. You don't want that to happen either. So what do you put, like a piece of hair over your safe door, or some kind of take a photograph of the door every time you leave it?
Put one of those 12 gauge snare trap alarm things in the safe, and if you don't open it right, it blows a hole in somebody.
Mad Max it.
Yeah.
Did you see the video of the guy that put the flashbang in his truck kept getting broken into, so he rigged it with a flashbang.
There you go.
And the guy broke into it. You see him reach in, and then boom.
Probably got his attention.
Mad Sexy's out there.
I'm not certain on the legalities of 12 gauge mortar, claymore device thing in your gun safe. Probably don't do that.
There's people that do put noise things in them, though, so that even you've got other people that have access to it. But what I'm saying, like, you have this thing when you open the door, like people that put it on the refrigerators to help them, like they'll to give them annoying when they open up the refrigerator. Like, you can just make these things where they'll squawk at you.
Biker Bob's out there. Good morning.
So here's the thing that you can't you can't feasibly stop somebody from doing something, especially with time and effort on their part. But what about webcams and alarms and stuff like that? I wish I had $5 for every time I've been in a conversation about gun safes, honestly, because it's something that comes up on the regular. I don't think every once in a while we'll get to putting hard drives in there, because for a while Fort Knox was doing that. So I know all about effectively trying to get the most bang out of your buck, right? You're spending some money on this thing, you're going to be putting your most valuable stuff in it. And then on the other side, you're putting all your most valuable stuff in there. So are you going to buy the cheapest one you can buy, or are you going to buy one that's decent? So most people go, I'd like to buy the one that's decent. So to make the most bang for your buck after spending like $2,000 on a box to put your stuff in, well, think about putting a Wi-Fi hard drive so you have your own cloud in there. Now if the house burns down or something happens, somebody steals your laptop and everything else, well, you've got a backup of everything that's important. People put their memories in there, like photo books and family papers and stuff in them sometimes. So even like I say, you can't ever stop somebody from getting into anything. But people don't often talk about the idea of having like motion sensor cameras that go straight to the cloud, and then you just have a sign on your safe that says, "Hey, dumbass, turn around." Like everybody on the internet knows who you are now, stuff like that. And again, a criminal is like, I'm coming in here to do something. Oh, this is taking me out of my comfort zone. I got other houses that are more normal. I'm out of here. So I think there's some ways you could literally prevent the person from doing it by, without making the safe impenetrable necessarily. And that'll help a lot of people, thinking about it that way. A lot of people already own safes too. So
Yeah,
it does a lot
that's
of talk about how good a better one is. Well, good. I already own a $700 one. I don't care about it. What a $1,500 one could do. Like, what can I do with my $700 one? Well, turn a webcam on it and put a big sign on it that says there's a freaking webcam. And it doesn't. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't have to be live, but I'm saying if you don't know how to set it all up, you can put a webcam on the wall and a sign on your on the safe door. And then just what if it's somebody coming in who shouldn't be in there but isn't a criminal? And now they're not going to walk in there and start fiddling with your stuff either. Just your brother-in-law who shouldn't be in there.
Or your kids.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't know that the thing isn't really a webcam. It's just a, solo cup thing painted black, but looks like a webcam to them. And they don't know. That's all I'm saying. It's like you can do things, and you could really put a webcam on there too. There's definitely things to monitor how many times the safe's been open.
I don't have any cameras inside the house. All my cameras are outside the house. It's
having a camera in your safe that looks in your safe, you know what I'm saying, with infrared, or have a little light in there you can turn on. Number one, so how's everything doing? All I care about is my gun. So, okay, they're fine. And then two, if the door's ever open, well, you know it, And
I was going to set up a safe cam with my old camera, but it wouldn't focus. It kept wigging out, which is the whole reason I replaced it for this camera I'm using now. No safe cam tonight.
Oh man, Huncho's got it down, because that's what somebody, how Life Alert was? I mean, somebody could come up with a system that puts a webcam in your thing, and when somebody's walking up to your safe, it goes like, "Hey, whatever your name is," like by name, like we're about to call, or we are calling the police right now, and told them who your name is. Like, let AI help you out.
And was just bring it up, but Big Brother can also watch me.
You put your hat
sitting
on when you're there,
sitting on a phone next to his Alexa. I don't have Alexa for that reason. I know my phone can listen to me. When you're talking with somebody about something and then you suddenly start getting ads for whatever you were talking about, that's because your phone will listen.
I thought Jeff Bezos was just psychic. What are you talking about?
No, just evil.
I bought some stuff from him. I gave him some more money for his cock rocket.
I was going to say he's going to take his penis rocket to his moon base.
Yep.
And Gunmetal Guys is asking, what about panel slot on an actual safe room, not just a safe?
I would prefer one.
If I had the money and the space, I would have one. It would be that's where I would be doing my chats from. It would be a kind of a den with a secure door. I've thought a few times about just taking a spare bedroom and beefing it up and putting a secure door on it. Not a safe door, but more of an exterior door where it's a solid door instead of the hollow core that most interior doors. But I don't know, just have never done it.
Yeah, I'm moving in the near future. I'll probably be doing something along those lines, beefing up a room.
Just saying, if you have TikTok installed on anything, you're allowing it to connect to any computer, phone, tablet, laptop, gaming console, or anything in your home network. I will not install TikTok. I am anti-TikTok. I am anti-Chicom. TikTok is a Chinese-owned, state Chinese-owned company. I will not use TikTok.
I've been uploading our shows onto TikTok, by the way.
Well, I'm not saying,
I'm joking.
If you wish, if anybody who wants to use TikTok, that's their choice. I'm not going to tell them not to. I'm just saying I choose not to.
When you send me a TikTok video on not Foss or G-Webs, but people, I do judge them when I get those. Like, oh, really?
Biker Bob said he had a bunker like that. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, doing that to a basement would be pretty fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be cool. A nice big, secure room where you got workspace and, guns on the walls, big TV, big couch, dancing girls, something.
Problem is there's not usually basements around here.
There's not.
I mean, there might be in the older homes, but the newer ones, they don't have basements. The old ones had like root cellars because they didn't have refrigerators.
Well, the closest thing to, I've never been in a basement in Washington. Closest was a friend's house, but it was built kind of on a hillside, so
Yep.
it was
Daylight basement.
It was a rubble basement, a dirt floor.
I've been in a basement in Washington, but it was like you're saying, like it was, you walk in the basement at the ground level, I guess. It's maybe the first floor, and then you'd go upstairs. I mean, it was the basement because upstairs was 2 floors above it, and that was the front of the house, but it was like built on a hill, so the bottom of the, I don't know how to say it, but the backyard was way down a hill, basically. But no, you're right. I don't know. Is it because of rocks? In Arizona, you don't have them because you basically need dynamite to dig a hole.
Well, that's what Woods is saying, water, but it might be.
Yeah. That's
like
probably
Western
another-
Washington it's all glacial till, because that's what the Puget Sound was when the glaciers receded.
So pebbles and stuff, or sand?
Baseball size rocks. When you start getting down there.
Well, you would think that would be good for a basement. Putting a concrete.
It's a
basement.
pain in the ass to dig a hole. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Hunch of Fett saying, still have a dream of buying one of those abandoned missile silo bunkers, renovating it.
Anytime you want to chat about it. I've known a couple of people. I know 5 people that own them, and then we've done some research into it before.
How deep are those?
Well, a Titan 2 is 9 stories, but I don't know anybody that's gotten into their silo. Nobody's got the balls. I would. But most people just get into living quarters, which is 3 stories, a bottom story of computers, the middle story where the button was, and then the upper story is like living quarters. And that's effectively a giant 3-story egg that they would dig a giant hole, create this thing as a building, and then fill it in. So people have gotten their have you ever seen the beginning of War Games? Some people's elevators, they only destroyed 2 or 3 silos for the Russians, and then they just half-assed it. So everybody that bought the silos that were half-assed, they got their elevators working again, and they would have some version nicer than others or cheaper than others of getting down into it and then getting over, scooting through the tunnel. There was a giant, almost a train engine generator in the tunnel between the giant silo and the living quarters. So that room was good to go. Everybody used that room. And then the computer level everybody got into, everybody went upstairs. And then depending on, like you say, water in Arizona, 11 of the silos, as soon as they went offline, they flooded. So in Kansas, where the other ones are, all flood all the time, constantly. If any of them still exist, they're flooded. And then Arkansas, it was like a mix, but mostly flood. And then you get all the other ones that I'm aware of are more like channels with roofs of some sort. So they would lift a missile up. Titans were the only ones, I think, that they dug a giant 9-story hole. So that's where you get into some of them. Well, I think the Atlas or something had a 6-story hole, and some people have built like the kind of underground circular rooms that go down. But most of the time, the silos are cool because they're effectively hardened buildings that are underground. So they're not as much silos. There's only a couple like that. Most of them are just really cool hardened buildings. But the best thing to buy is the old AT&T infrastructure, because those are literally just giant square buildings that were back in the day when telephone systems needed room. They were just made to hold telephone systems to keep them secure. So they have giant internet going into them, all kinds of electricity. They're almost always like in an area. And because they got no walls windows or doors and stuff, people don't want them, and they end up being really cheap. But they're designed to live through a nuclear attack. And those things are, I think, the hidden gem if you're looking for something that's really secure, because they can sometimes be right in the middle of a town or right near a town. And they're all over. The silos were only the 3 Titan sites, and then a couple of other silos only existed in certain areas. So you'd have to like move to the silos for everything else.
Gunmetal Guy USA is saying I vote G-Web's pencil in a silo chat with silo owners.
Well, I don't know any of them that good. In fact, I don't want to talk about it, but one of them I definitely don't know good. And then it would be interesting to try to get in contact with them, though. So I'm not putting it out of the thing. As soon as I have time to do it, it's a great excuse to. One of them, I'm pretty sure. Well, he would have contacted me by now, but I'm pretty sure he's putting it back together in order to do something with it. So he wasn't just doing it for himself. But the people that built it for themselves, they built it for themselves. Like, they only let me in because I was like, hey, I've been in every other one, and I know that yours is open. Can I go in, kind of thing?
We'll close out the safe chat saying, so if you go to buy a safe, just make sure you understand what you're buying.
Know the limitations.
There's another layer of them. So you talked about the ones in the vehicle, but there's those fast access ones that you'd put on a nightstand. They're not necessarily designed to be hidden, but they're designed to keep them out of reach, and then somewhere where you can make sure you know where they are, and you got the biometrics often, or something. Yeah. Or sometimes even those shelves that have it drops down and you got your gun under it, but like the fast access type of.
Those are basically only good for keeping kids out of them.
Yep.
Because the way they're secured to a wall or furniture, you can pull them off the wall or the furniture, and then just take the whole unit.
Take the whole furniture, yeah. Like, I got a dresser.
But if you have kids, it's instead of leaving a gun on your nightstand, you can have it in the safe attached to the nightstand. I have one, and that's what when I installed it, then I got to seeing how everything works, where it's great to keep somebody out of it, but it won't stop somebody from taking it. And then there's with the biometrics, if your fingers are wet, it has trouble reading it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You got paint all over them, or Like, I don't know about y'all, but if I am working with liquid nails, I got liquid nails all over me for a week.
Yeah, and like the one I have, you can register. I can't remember if it's like 2 or 3 different ones. So I've got, you know, if one finger doesn't work, I can use a different finger. And then there's also the, it's got a keypad and there's a key. So if,
Well, then in that case, you got to worry about somebody coming up to you at work or when you're not expecting it, chopping off your finger, running home and getting into your sink.
so they're handy.
Oh, do you
And,
see? You know what simplex lock is? I think that's what they're called, where they're
Yeah.
like buttons and they're mechanical, but they're very fast and they have a combo. And you know, you sometimes like you push 2, 1,
Yeah.
3 or something like that. Those things I really like, and Fort Knox makes a version of those that they're not car safes. I mean, I guess you could put them in a car, but they're giant because they're really made out of real metal. Like you'd have to spend some serious time trying to bust these things open. They're effectively just a clamshell, but they're made out of like whatever that gauge is, 10 gauge or something. You know, and just super well made and then finished all fancy. Some of them are so that you put those into your bigger vault if you got jewelry
Nightwoods.
and stuff to keep people who might get into your vault, you know, still have to make them try to fight to get into your actual super expensive stuff. And then others were made like into furniture so that they just built the furniture right around the big box because they're bigger than the regular safes because there's more metal in them. And but anyway, those things, I think of those as like another level. I know a couple of people that use the full size ones that whatever, like in their closet, and then have their other guns like in the basement of the garage. So I don't know. Again, it's sort of like a staging type of safe, or like, I mean, I hear what you're saying to keep kids out, but they're pretty strong. I mean, you'd have to, if you bolted that thing to your studs or something, you know, you're not just casually ripping that
Well,
off.
no, because like the, I think I threw the box away. I used to have the box sitting on that shelf for it. I forget the brand, but there's a mounting plate, and
Oh yeah, I have one like
so
that. Yeah.
the mounting plate to the studs is pretty secure, but it hangs on the mounting plate, and that's the weak point. Where if I grabbed one of my large screwdrivers, I could pry it off.
Yeah, I've seen that kind. I had one like that, but it uses more like a bolt, so you know it connects to a bolt that's in there. But yeah, you'd have to put effort. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Those are neat. Well, it's neat them is you get 2 plates. You put one in your vehicle or something, and one in your house or whatever, and then you can take your
Oh yeah,
you're used to with you, I guess.
but yeah, they are convenient and somewhat secure. Not absolutely, like anything, it's not absolutely secure. But again, it's where it's mounted is out of sight. So when you walk in the room, you don't see it. You can walk pretty much up to it and you don't see it. And it's all designed just to add time, which is the burglar's enemy, is time. So
And then you got alarms, you add
Yeah.
time and then there's an alarm going off, right? Then that combo gives them less time, I guess.
Yeah, and even if you have an alarm, there's I watched something years ago, probably 20 years ago, where there is a delay between, your alarm goes off. If it's a monitor, if you have a monitored alarm, then the monitoring company, they get the notice and then they make the call. So depending on how good that company is, you've got that delay.
Yeah, I go with a local one, so I can tell them if I'm here, I want a call. Like something goes off, I want the call first. But if I'm not here, then you're just calling the cops.
I don't even. It's been so long, I don't even remember who I told them to call. So
that's the thing. Having a local one, I think, is the way to go instead of a giant service. I mean, I'm sure they're fine, but if you got a local one, then I know the owner of the place. Like I can,
yeah,
don't have to worry about it. I mean, he's not the one answering the phone, but.
And there's a delay, right?
There is,
There-
because normally it costs money or something, or they just don't want you to piss off the cops by having a broken something. So they'll call you if you want. But like I say, I can say, hey, I'm not going to be around the house. I'm in Phoenix or something, like, or nobody's there right now. And so if something goes off, just call the cops. Like, just flip it right over, and you can just do that with like a text or whatever.
Yeah, most of the when the alarm company calls the cops, most of them are false alarms, and so
Depending on where
some
you are, maybe they give you 3 in your lifetime,
Yeah.
or maybe they don't even give you that many. Maybe it's 3 per company. I think it kind of depends on how well, the police attitude or something.
so yeah, there's some cities and towns that will start fining you because of false alarms. And Vanessa Kitty is out there, and Wesley Foster. I guess it's good morning for you guys. Again, so to kind of wrap up all the gun safe talk, just check out the 2 links that I put. They're, I would say research more than that, but it's
No,
a
that
couple.
one guy goes through it pretty good from what I've
Yeah.
seen. I didn't listen, but I seen him do all the stuff that a good safe company will tell you to do to show you like the difference. And there's nothing wrong with buying a big box store safe. Just try to get the best deal you possibly can on it, because it's just not
Well,
the same.
Yeah, in that video, it doesn't, compared to the good safe, you really see the weaknesses. But he says, it's a decent, for what it is. It's a decent safe.
Compared
even
to
though-
stack. And then we didn't even talk about, but like when we were growing up, you'd get a wood cabinet, and sometimes it had a glass door, right?
Yeah.
Often
Yeah.
it had those little cups with felt on it. You go, ooh, you got felt on your little cup.
So check out those links, and make sure you understand, any ratings or anything, what's really important, and then what's just add-ons to make your safe look cool.
So
Yeah.
speaking of those wooden things, I have one of them wooden things from back in the day that holds maybe 8 rifles, and it's something you totally put in like a hunting cabin just next to the china there, next to the dishes or something, and it's just like a piece of furniture, right? Except it holds guns. Anyway, I keep my BB guns in there. I figure if somebody comes in here and all lights are off and they're shining their flashlight around, they think bingo, and they grab them like suckers. They just grab them.
Yeah, and then the however many guns it says it holds, it's going to hold half that many if you've got
Well, that's
optics on your
another
guns.
Yeah, that's a great aspect. And in those videos where safe people are telling you, like they've dealt with people that are there buying safes, so they'll tell you like, well, if you're about to spend $3,000, why not spend $4,000 or $3,500? Add another foot to the top of this thing and put your important photos in there, or your tax records, or whatever it is that's valuable to you.
There's a trick to getting more guns in your safe. I think I've said this before. You stack them up and down. You alternate. So barrel up on one, barrel down on the other. You'll get in way more guns.
Oh, that's a great point. I've
That
seen
that
things that
that helped on my smaller safe. I've got a small safe and an even smaller safe. On my even smaller safe, that little trick did give me a little room, so the rifles aren't banging against each other.
you've seen these things where, especially if you got a safe with carpet, they have like a giant thumbtack effectively. So the top of the thumbtack is Velcro, hook Velcro, so it sticks into the carpet, and then it's just a long piece of plastic rod, and so it's like a long cleaning rod with a piece of Velcro at the end. So if you have like a carbine, but all your other guns are long, it becomes a long thing that attaches it to the shelf above, so it keeps it standing up. Does that make sense? And those little rod things can stop all that stuff from leaning, and then allow, like you're saying, like a really good Tetris. I've only ever had way too many guns. I mean, probably when I was a young kid or something, I could put a couple of guns in a safe, but I've always had to deal with Tetris game getting in and out of there.
I think there's magnetic ones too that you can buy.
I hate magnets, but yeah, there's definitely. We didn't talk about safe organization. There's lots of different options. Like Yankee, I don't know. One of the reasons I don't understand Yankee is he uses these big foam things in a safe. Like, I'm not going to buy a safe and then use 1/3 of it. Ones are going to be touching each other. But the wire things from Safe Storage Solutions out of Illinois, those are the only ones that are 100% U.S. steel, made in USA, shipped in the USA. Everything else is a Chinese product that's just rebranded USA, unless something's changed since, I don't know, 4 years ago was the last time I checked on that. Those things are super nice. They're just a piece of wire with some paint on it, and they have a bunch of different shapes, but they'll hook to your wooden shelf and then give you a place just like at a gun shop where you can put it down the barrel, So I have so many things that are so much easier to get to. All my stupid little revolvers, my roams and that used to just be in a big bag, like laying there in the bottom of the safe. Now they're all on these little hooks and stuff. They aren't free, but they're pretty inexpensive. But organizing a safe can save you having to buy 2 or 3 safes, right?
Yeah, I use the same for my pistols.
Like I grab my pistols that are good to go are underneath the shelf pointed at me. So I just reach in and grab them. You know what I'm saying? Like they're all like, it's just a bunch of wires pointing at me. So I just have them all laying on their barrels underneath the shelf. I'll have to take a picture of it and show you. It was neat when I had a bunch of Glocks.
I've got for both of my rifle safes, I've got those where the so kind of bent wire so you can stick your gun.
Exactly, just what you did, exactly. And then you have like 6 of them in a row, all your pistols in a row.
Yeah.
It's cool as hell, and that you can put stuff on the shelf still.
Yeah, the other safe that is too small, so they don't quite fit, so I have to angle them, but I can still get a couple in there.
Oh, but the magnets, I used to have a client that invented one of the magnet things, taking some Kydex and making some grommets in it and putting those super strong magnets in there, and then you would attach the magnet to something, and then, for knives, I'm okay with it, but if you've ever had one of those deals to magnetize a screwdriver,
yeah,
that's all it's doing. So your gun might be aluminum and plastic and stuff, but your barrel ain't. Your firing pin may or may not be something magnetized. And to me, it just drove me nuts because that's all it's doing, especially when people stick it on there and pull it off. I'm like, have you ever magnetized a screwdriver? You're magnetizing your gun. And I do not want a staple or some little, I have way too many drill bit filings, or whatever you call that, like metal shavings all around. And that's exactly the kind of stuff that would get in somewhere when it's magnetized. So I can't get with the magnetized. There's a whole thing for magnetizing your magazines. Drives me nuts. Like, why would you want your magazine body to attract metal filings? Ugh. That's just, I don't like metal filings, period. Like, I don't want anything magnetic around me like that. But anyway, so I'm just not a fan of magnets with guns. Knives and stuff, let's go. Like axes and tools and things, like I'm okay with them. I have most of my screwdrivers and stuff on bar magnets.
Yeah, I've got I think both my rifle safes have carpeting, and so I've got Velcro stuff, and then one of them has Velcro and pins to help hold it, so I can put stuff on the doors. And
kind of like pegboard.
No, they're magazine holders, so it's like a pouch with a Velcro backing, and then one of them has actual pins on it too to help hold it in the carpet.
Oh, I know.
Speaking of magnets, if anyone's ever looking for a real strong rare earth magnet for free, they're in your hard drives. If you have like a broken hard drive, crack that sucker open, and there's a rare earth magnet in it.
Yeah, but those are tiny.
Yeah, but they can hold a lot of weight.
It's crazy how strong those are. I
got ones that have cut me because I got two of them too close, and then it jumped. And I was holding one, and then the other one jumped off the table, and then when they hit, they pinched my skin and cut the skin.
There was a couple that had their one of the things at gun shows all the time was to sell those, and they were like $1 a piece. So at some point they were on the little crazy little arm or something, but it was perfect because it had a hole in it, and they could tie a string to their 550 to that. And yeah, those things were super strong for being the size of like a piece of chiclet or something.
I don't know. I like magnets, so I've got a bunch of.
When I had that guy as a client, I was like, at some point he he traded the thing off, and it was ending. And I was like, I'll tell you what, just pay me off with like a whole bunch of magnets that you haven't put together yet. So I had at one time, they were about as size of a 50-cent piece, but as thick as like maybe 5 50-cent pieces. So they were like a disc, and they were separated by a piece of plastic. And I had like a what should I say, like a Maglite flashlight stack of those things.
Whoa.
It was fun to have a bunch of them to use for stuff, but basically over the years, they're all like, a couple of them are always in the van, and then I've got them on toolboxes and stuff, but they're really neat, super dangerous if you get anything between them. But
Well, yeah, and if you've got toddlers and younger, those little neodymium magnets, they're baby killers, because the kids will swallow them, and then they'll get two that are on opposite sides of the intestinal lining, and so they'll attract, and it can cut through the lining.
I knew that I was buying them for a while. I was having the most fun ever playing with them things. They're super interesting, like fidget spinners or something, playing with them with the dots. So I was buying them off different places, trying to see how cheap I could get them, and they would get less magnetic. So maybe that's what they'll end up doing, is bringing them around with a little less magnetic. But some of them are, they're like the ultimate thumbtack. That's what I end up using them for now more than anything, because they're so strong. One little tiny little piece of rice can hold up like 5 pieces of paper against something metal.
I've got them kind of randomly stuck around the house on the, the corners of the walls where you've got the corner
drywall
piece.
stuff.
Yeah, they're kind of stuck on the nails, and they're just all over the house.
Yeah, because they're just handy, right? Like a little magnetic thumbtack thing if you need to hang something or.
Yep, keep one by the door, so if we order pizza, you put the cash at the door, hold it there. Got a bunch in here from playing with them, and
I got some that are square, so they're little cubes. And those things are kind of neat. I kind of like the round ones better, but like I say, if I know about the cheaper ones, I could get them, or you'd get them, and they were hardly magnetic, so they were kind of useless. But that might be more appropriate for the toy or whatever. What about using magnets on your safe then? These are usually big, giant metal things. Do you put stickers on them? Do you put magnets on them?
I used to have, because I bought some of the those Velcro with the magnets from you that you had on your store. So and then I had patches, and then I took all the patches off, started doing the patch boards, and then I just have stickers now.
You can do the same thing, like get the sheets of magnet, or I always say go find some lawyer or insurance agent or real estate agent that's giving you ideally like a calendar with a magnet or whatever. Sometimes they'll give you like a big piece of calendar looking magnet, and then you just put your stickers on there, trim them. But you can buy that magnet material. Buy the magnet material that's for creating a sign for a car door, and then you get like a big piece of it for, it's probably the best price to get. And then you can make stickers on, or stick stickers on that thing for a while.
What's going on, Night Strike?
Hey, how's it going?
Good to see you.
I hear G-Webs loves magnetizing all of his 9mm ammo.
You can't magnetize metric. That's one of the features of metric. Is this the morning for you, or are you up late?
I'm up late.
Playing the video games, probably.
Probably. It probably still am, so.
What are you playing?
World of Warships.
Do you go on the Gilded? Because the Gilded is designed for all that stuff. Do you guys use that? You plug in all your video games that you play in?
I use Discord still because,
that's too bad.
I know.
You know that fishy smell? That's Discord.
He just joined our Gilded.
I just noticed that. Noticed that Foss kicked me out of his Discord. How dare you, sir?
What? No, we kicked everybody out.
No. How dare you, sir?
He burned it down. There's nothing.
We burned it to the ground
with everyone inside. You're lucky to survive.
Oh no, I always survive. I'm like a cockroach.
Yeah, if you're curious, you can go watch that shit show of me trying to delete the server for 10 minutes.
And then people in the chat taunting him.
Yeah. I deserved it. We made it so secure that even I couldn't delete anything. It was pretty funny.
Well, that's how you do it.
Let me do this while I'm thinking about it. GearWebsite.com for your 2A related stickers, patches, t-shirts, and other stuff that I can't think of right now.
Books and 3D printed. Books and 3D printed needs. Thanks for the plug each week. Appreciate it. Well, every other week, I guess. The other weeks I also appreciate it though. Have you ever did you ever see my email, Night Strike, from a while back? I think you were sick or something.
I mailed you back. Did you not get my email?
Oh no, then maybe that happens sometimes with people I've had on my email list for a while. It doesn't show up in my inbox. It just shows up as a reply to my sent mail. Let me look.
Yeah, because I replied to you, dude.
Okay, hold on. Was it a yes then?
Yeah, it was an unequivocal yes.
Oh, hold on. I think we're talking about two different ones. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? Yeah, there it is. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I was going to say, have you ever thought about putting together a plug for Night Strike's video or Night Strike's hosting? He does web hosting for people that might want to build a website.
Also do domains too.
I could probably do that. I sent him a video a while ago. I doubt he even ever looked at it. When I was doing stuff, making videos and stuff just to learn the software.
What is it you're using?
I don't know if you even sent me the video because I never got it.
I'll resend it to you.
Resend it to me because I never got it.
I will. Don't think I won't.
You better.
What software are you using?
I use Filmora.
Okay.
You better send it to me. Otherwise, we're going to have Baron hand deliver it to me. And Baron won't like that.
And a piece of paper with a link on it.
Yes, exactly. That's how it will go.
Pink was saying we'll do that.
Oh, you want an exclusive video from the drone that Pink gave me that no one else has seen except for
he got a Marlin Model 60, wasn't it?
Yeah, he said he had bought one of the wood cabinet gun cases, and it had two guns in it. So one was that one, and
that's a Marlin Model 60, yeah.
And this is the other one.
Oh yeah, an old break action.
Stevens.
Yeah.
Is that a break action or a falling block?
It's a falling block.
It might be a falling block. You're right.
Always wanted one of those.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff I always wanted.
I
have one of those.
There's lots
I
of stuff
almost bought one of those.
The Model 60?
Yep. I found one of the old ones that hold 18 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
It was like $400, but it was CNR, so a little bit of markup.
Right.
Mine's upstairs. I was going to show you my Washington assault rifle.
Semi-automatic assault rifle. It's a saw, right?
Is Pink still out there?
You know, I can go get mine. You know, it's a nail gun.
I think he was out there about 7 minutes ago.
Okay.
So what are we looking at here? To drone? video.
I'll start it from the beginning again. This is what it's like when it's on the ground.
Yeah, he's still out there.
Ooh.
Get
When
it
did
so that take us off of there. This would be better big.
Oh, oops.
So I go up.
I won't
there.
touch it.
I go up there and I look around and I'm like, oh shit, this happens. Right?
Ooh, military.
So thanks to Pink for providing the drone for this.
That's probably going to another fort. And most of the Humvees they'll probably sell off.
I can't really see through it, so I'm looking up at it and going, I'm thinking the angle's right. So that's why it's a little bit low. And then I go up a little bit like an idiot, and then this is okay. But then for a second here, I'll lose it because I, can't see through there. So I just sort of figure, well, I'll take it for a while here, then I'll move up. So when I did this, I lost it. But luckily, I come back down just in time for that.
Ooh, the tape destroyers.
So that Humvee was the very end of it. And then I didn't get a very good shot of the end there, but then I come back around and hit the... That's where the furthest west Civil War battle took place.
Yep.
That's pretty much the end. Now I come back down.
So it's just pure luck that that went by.
I stopped and I bring the drone up and I'm like, oh, there's a train. Oh, shit.
Nice.
Bumpy landing.
I don't land good. You're supposed to push this button, but what the hell? I like smashing it into the ground. It turns out there's a belly camera on a drone, right? And I thought it was just for taking pictures down.
It's not fragile or anything. You'll be fine.
What the belly camera is for is it takes like a fingerprint of the ground. So when it's about a foot off the ground or someplace, it takes a fingerprint of the ground and it uses whatever it's got. So that's why a lot of people put like some sort of something circular with a pattern on it underneath of there. And then that's what it uses to remember this is where I live, this is where I come from. And when you use there's a button on a drone usually, land and take off. When you do that, then it uses all that. I didn't know that until just recently, so I probably will attempt to start doing that. But no, I just smash it down until it hits the ground. Mainly because I don't know how to turn the blades off. So the only way I can turn the blades off is by smashing it into the ground and then ramming the off command until it actually goes off. I haven't got the fast down yet. It's probably because you're supposed to hit the land button.
Yeah, I've got a drone too. I haven't used it yet.
Oh, that's from the good one. I haven't. I can't get film off the little one.
I've got a cheap one.
They're neat. I really like them.
I just don't like how the flying time on them is so
What kind
low.
you got? What kind you got?
I got a cheap Chinese one. It's made out of Chinesium.
Well, yeah, but they're all like that. They're basically all some drone or some clone of the DJI, whatever that means.
The DJIs, yeah. Yeah,
But the little one, I've got a big one and a medium. The medium is like, well, it's not big, but the one's bigger. The little guy is more of toy professional. It's like in between. And that one, I can turn it on, hold it, throw it up in the air, and start flying. So that's kind of neat, like wing it into the air, like if it's some kind of robot bug. The other one, I don't do that with.
Yeah, I've got a small. I just got a small one. It's got like a 10 or 20-minute flight time or something.
Huh. Well, yeah, I guess they all pretty much have some limited time, but it seems like a long time for me, at least when I'm still learning. And then I don't know about you, but I've noticed there's a heck of a lot more time on it when it's not windy. If it's battling wind, I mean, it makes sense, I guess. It's pushing the engines a lot more. Like it spends a lot more time up there working where to stay in one spot. Where if it's not windy, I get more flight time.
Right.
So, Night Strike. Plug something.
Check out guntube.org. It's still running, as far as I know.
Why don't you drop a link for it?
Oh, I got to drop a link for it now. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
you have to. You must.
Oh, I must.
And
There we go.
G-Webs. Is there anything you want to plug, G-Webs? Plug something.
I'll have Charles on. Charles Heller is going to be on Monday. Chat with him. And then I think it goes Sharon again. If anybody wants to come on and chat with Sharon, talk 2A. I think that'll be next Monday. And then the Monday after that is Ride and Shotgun with Charlie. So I got some interviews scheduled for the next couple weeks.
And Baron, anything you want to plug?
I got nothing. I've been behaving. I got nothing to plug.
I disagree. I disagree. You aim to misbehave.
And well, what's coming up tomorrow? Gary's got a show. Gizzard Gary has an open forum chat in the morning. His Sunday early bird chat. It's 7 Pacific, and what is that? 10
a.m. Eastern. Is that really the early bird hour?
No,
if it's 10 o'clock.
It's not really, but I won't tell if you won't.
And
It's false advertising.
and G-Webs, you have the Instagram one tomorrow, don't you? Or was that today?
No,
Today was the questions.
Yeah, the questions. Today was hanging out with Clover and Tony. We did it for 90 minutes, and we ended up chatting. I think me and Tony were chatting there till like 4 hours or something. The both of those guys have some really interesting projects going on. So half of that show is doing the show, and the other half is letting them get together and kind of strategize and hear what they're doing. The both of them have some interesting stuff on the horizon here.
It was good to see Tony hit 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised he was. I thought I would have swore he was, way over 1,000.
Me
I don't
too.
really pay attention because unless somebody talks about it, you know what I mean? It's not like I even look. I really. So. But yeah, it's cool. I'm gonna hopefully see him get whatever the other hurdle is for monetization. We didn't even talk about that with all the stuff we talked about. We didn't even talk about that.
So what, Night Strike, you're doing? You've got your chats. You got 2 chats, right?
Right now I just have one. Well, I have hit or miss Tuesday night Stack Lock, and then I do ransom raiders with roll call.
So is he really gonna shut it down at 200?
Unless people donate to the beer fund, yes. Because I've gotten him to agree that he'll do extra shows if people donate to the beer fund. He doesn't want to, but he's gonna have to.
So
that's just how it goes.
Other than that, I can't think of anything else to say. I'm all done. I'm tapped out. Let's put her to bed.
Working her.
Let me do this real quick.
Disco is dead. Disco is not dead. Disco is life.
Wednesday nights is Wednesday Night Mouse Party, 10:30 p.m. Pacific, right after the daily quiz show.
Daily quiz show, yes.
Forgot
But
what-
Amy, glad you're not driving. This is where we all be looking at each other nervously.
Somebody needs to take his keys away.
Maybe we should stop at this diner that's coming up. Maybe we should take this exit. What do you think?
But so it's right after G Web's quiz show. And wow, yeah. Other than that, everybody have a good night.
You still here? It's over. Go home. No.